joining us for this week's presentation, setting the stage for a year of outdoor exploration with Oregon Wild or on your own. My name's Chandra LeGue. I'm Oregon Wild's Senior Conservation Advocate in our Eugene office, and with me is Sami, Godlove, our Central Oregon Field Coordinator in Bend. We'll be your guides through the webcast this evening. So if anyone is new to these webcasts and to Oregon Wild, I'll just give you a brief orientation before we begin. Oregon Wild works to protect and restore the wildlands, wildlife, and waters in our state. Many of those, the places that we love to recreate. Last year, we celebrated our 50th anniversary, which means that we've advocated for public lands, wildlife in their habitat, wild and scenic rivers, and native forests that grow across the state since 1974. But before we get into our main topic tonight, a couple of housekeeping items. For folks who bought tickets to our raffle tonight, we will do that drawing tomorrow and email the winners. So in addition to Oregon Wild's usual offerings, a book that I wrote about hiking in Oregon's ancient forests, and one of our new t-shirt designs, we also have a solar charging station that will come in handy on your adventures, hopefully. And you can still get raffle tickets where you registered for the webcast. We'll email out a video of this webcast tomorrow, so you can share it with friends, and it will also be posted on our website under our resource library. We have a couple of scheduled upcoming webcasts, actually, maybe only one, maybe a few in the works. But next week, we'll be hearing about monarch butterfly conservation with Sabrina Jepson with the Xerxes Society. That'll be really cool. Monarchs are great. And finally, if you have any questions that come up during the program, use the little Q&A bubble in your Zoom interface, and we will answer questions at the end of this presentation tonight. We'll leave a few minutes at the end before 7 o'clock. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Sami for a minute.
Okay, thank you, Chandra. And before we go further, we would like to offer gratitude to the land and for those who have lived here in Oregon since time immemorial. So this map on the screen, this shows the traditional homelands of the various tribes that call this place home. And the history of tribes in Oregon is complex and nuanced and includes many colonial legacies and wrongdoings like forced removal that have long-lasting and current impacts on both people and the landscapes that they inhabit. So when we recreate on public lands, we're often on these stolen lands, and it's not just our public lands, but also our homes, farms, cities, communities, and all of us who enjoy these places and benefit from them have a responsibility to not only acknowledge Indigenous people and land, but also to do meaningful work by supporting them in the present, respecting and uplifting tribal sovereignty, and taking action when and where we can. Okay. You go to the next slide, Chandra. All right, so we'll kick it off here. So this is our adventure guide for 2025. But to start off, we want to take a look back at 2024 and some of our favorite adventures last year. So Chandra, I'd like to ask you to tell all of us about one of your favorite adventures from last year.
I almost started talking with mute on, rookie mistake. Yeah, it was hard to pick a favorite. Honestly, I had a really good adventure year last year, but I'm going to say that backpacking into the Badger Creek Wilderness, which for those who have never heard of the Badger Creek Wilderness, it's kind of obscure. It's on the east side of Mount Hood. And I did this with and there's only a few trails in the wilderness area. There's one about 12 miles long that goes from the east side into Badger Lake. So we did that 12-mile hike uphill all in one day at the end of the night, racing against dusk. But it was fantastic, just really beautiful forest, a lake at the end, and I guess the two best things about it was that I was with a friend, Marina Ritchie, who may be on here. I didn't check. She's a great hiker and writer based in Bend. And also that the huckleberries were ripe and we just gorged ourselves like bears. So it was a really great trip. All right, your turn, Sammy. What was one of your favorite trips last year?
Yeah, so I also had a pretty good adventure year last year. But when I was thinking about this, I realized most of my adventures were outside of Oregon, and I really wanted to pick one inside of Oregon, since this is an Oregon Wild webcast, of course. So mine is probably a place many people have heard about, Crater Lake. But this was last Memorial Day weekend. It's kind of a hiking, camping, skiing, fly fishing trip to Crater Lake in the Upper Rogue. So this specific day, we hiked and skied Garfield Peak, which in the lower photo there with the snow, that's us at the top of Garfield Peak. Skied down that and then camped on the Upper Rogue near Union Creek. Went on a nice little hike. This was a really long day and tiring day, but it was pretty fun at the same time. So went on a hike along the Rogue, and this was in the spring, so there was a ton of wildflowers blooming. We also found some morels, not enough to gorge ourselves, but did have a few for dinner at camp that night. So it's also a very memorable and delicious meal that night as well. But yeah, really beautiful place. And this section of the Upper Rogue was one of the rivers designated as wild and scenic under the 1988 Oregon Wild and Scenic Rivers Act, which Oregon Wild helped pass through Congress. That act also protected a whole bunch of other rivers in Oregon, like the Deschutes, the Metolius, the Clackamas, Grand Ronde, Owyhee, many, many rivers. And we'll talk a bit more about another big river protection bill tonight that we are currently working on.
Yeah, thanks. Oh yeah, I totally forgot to say that the Badger Creek Wilderness was protected in the 1984 Oregon Wilderness Bill, which to date is the largest wilderness bill that Oregon has seen passed. So, and there's a great story about who worked on it and how that got passed that Marina Ritchie wrote about in a blog for Oregon Wild that you can find on our website too. All right. Well, Oregon Wild, of course, is historically focused on public lands, which make up much of Oregon. And as Sami mentioned, has a long and complicated history. Specifically, we focus a lot on the forested national public lands, which is about a quarter of the state. This map just shows in green our national forests, in sort of orange, the Bureau of Land Management lands. You can see state lands in bright yellow, and you can see our one and only national park there, Crater Lake, as well as some national wildlife refuges. So this has been the focus of Oregon Wild's work. And of course, many of the places that we all love to hike and explore have been protected thanks to our work, like in the Wilderness Act or the Wild and Scenic Rivers Act that we've just talked about. Other ways of protecting some of these public lands have been the roadless rule, which was first enacted in 2001, that protected about 2% of Oregon's wild lands. But honestly, only about 4% of Oregon is protected as wilderness with a big W with using the Wilderness Act. And only about 3% is designated as a roadless area under the roadless rule. So that's not a whole lot of the land base. And unfortunately, much of our national forest lands have been fragmented through extensive logging and road building over the last century. So these vast landscapes we think about recreating in, like the photo on the right, are just a small percentage of the state. And in fact, this picture on the left is of fresh clear cuts back in the 1980s, taken with aerial imagery of the Willamette National Forest. And so you can see how fragmented those forests are. What we have left is some of our best and favorite recreation areas in large blocks. And also, of course, so important for clean water and wildlife habitat, storing carbon, etc. You can really clearly see the line on this map of where the Three Sisters Wilderness is, the clear cuts coming right down to the boundary up in the Mackenzie watershed. So it's really important that we've worked to protect these areas, for so that we have places like this to hike. So in the early 2000s, Oregon Wild launched the Oregon Wild campaign. That wasn't our name at the time. We were still the Oregon Natural Resources Council. And the point of that was to draw attention to the unprotected, intact, roadless areas and wild places that should be protected as wilderness, and that we might launch as campaigns for wilderness protection in the future. So we hosted hikes during Wilderness Week, and it was a whole thing to, get all of our staff out in the woods, guiding people, taking them to some of these intact roadless areas that we wanted to protect in the summer. Over the years, we expanded the guided hikes to being throughout the year, not just focused on one week. And then we've tied it to different campaigns and issues, not just protecting wilderness. So the idea really is to help people explore and enjoy the special places we're working to protect, and then to become advocates for these places that you come to love. So that goal continues today. Today, our guided hikes really serve as a way to connect our supporters, hopefully all of you, to our priority conservation campaigns, which Sami and I will be talking about a little bit more. On our hikes, we really try to take care of all of the logistics so that you can just show up with all the information you need to have a good time, enjoy the trail and the group experience. So we've got all sorts of policies in place to keep people safe. Sami and I lead a lot of hikes, and we're trained in first aid, and like I said, take care of the logistics so that we don't take people into unsafe conditions, like when it's too hot or there's too much smoke. And we really focus on building an inclusive and respectful atmosphere so that everyone feels welcome and supported, and kind of this we're all in it together vibe. So hopefully those of you who have been on one of our hikes are nodding your heads like, yeah, we've had a good time that way. Our guided hikes also are pretty diverse geographically and in difficulty range. So we always try to be really clear about what to expect as far as elevation gain and how far we're planning to go, what to bring to be comfortable, all that sort of stuff in advance. Carpooling from a convenient location, whether it's with Sami and Bend or sisters, or with me and Eugene, or out of our Portland office. So it's really, we hope, really accessible to everyone to get out there with us and learn about these great places. Where we choose to lead hikes is often covering multiple different campaigns and issues. So our criteria for choosing them might be that we have a long history of working to protect that area, or if there are wildlife species at risk that are found there, or it's an area that we're really working to protect and needs more protection like right now, and we want to tell people about it. So an example of one of those places that Sami's actually leading a hike to this summer is Lookout Mountain in the Ochiko National Forest. It kind of checks all these boxes. It's part of the, or it's one of the designated roadless areas under the roadless rule, but that doesn't give it permanent protection. So over the years, we've worked to advance wilderness protections or other protections for this really amazing place. Wolves travel through there. There's amazing variety of plants. There's old growth forests that are more and more at risk. And there's the headwaters of some of the proposed wild scenic rivers that we're hoping to protect under the River Democracy Act. So again, checks all those boxes. We try to pick places like that. What would you learn about on one of our hikes? Well, what don't you learn about? Seriously, I put together this little list of things that we probably will talk about on any one of our hikes, depending on exactly where we are, whether it's fire ecology to mushroom identification, what sort of structures of old growth forests do we see around us? How was this land managed? In fact, one of the folks who've been on many of my hikes, Pat, if you're out there listening, you'll appreciate this. She has told me repeatedly that I ruined hiking for her. Because she now knows so much about forest management, and when she's driving, on an otherwise beautiful drive into the mountains, all she sees is old clear cuts. I chalk that up as a win. I've done my job doing education, and she's now a really great advocate for our forest because she learned about this stuff on our hikes. Hopefully I don't ruin hiking for anybody else, but so anyway, our hikes are really fun. We'll get into some of the ones that we're planning this year right now.
Yeah, so one of the campaigns that you'll learn about on several of our hikes this year is the River Democracy Act. And this is a historic bill that we're currently working on. It would designate over 3,200 miles of new wild and scenic rivers all across the state. So this map shows all of those streams in the bright green squiggly lines on the map. Those are all the rivers and streams included in the River Democracy Act. So you can see really all corners of the state. The dark blue lines on there are rivers that are already designated as wild and scenic. So this bill was developed by Senator Wyden with input from thousands of Oregonians who nominated their favorite rivers, and those are the rivers that got included into this bill. And the River Democracy Act would, protect these rivers and the very important values that they provide, such as fish and wildlife habitat, clean drinking water for many of them, and outdoor access and recreation, among many other important values. You go to the next slide, Chandra. And of course, a lot of Oregon's best hikes are also along rivers, including many that are in the River Democracy Act. So just earlier today, actually, we released a hiking guide to the River Democracy Act. It includes 20 hikes along streams that are proposed as wild and scenic in this bill. You can see all of those on the map here. So again, a lot of geographic diversity, really all corners of the state. You can see some of the ones listed here. And Chandra, can you go to the next slide? So this shows just kind of what's in the guide. So you'll find a lot of like hike descriptions, very detailed descriptions, the difficulty, distance, whether you need a permit or not, parking permit or day use permit, direction to the trailhead, a lot of information like that. Also a lot of information about the River Democracy Act itself, and how you can be an advocate for these rivers as well, how you can explore them, enjoy them, and then also come back and speak up for them to make sure that we can pass this bill through Congress and actually protect these places and these important values. So a couple ways you can get this. If you want it right now, you can actually take out your phone and scan this QR code. And it'll take you to our citizen co-sponsor form, which shows that you support the River Democracy Act. So if you sign that, you'll be taken to the guide right away. Otherwise, after this webcast, go to our website, and under the outdoor resources section, you'll be able to find it there as well. So these are some of the guided hikes that we're leading this year. If you want to join an Oregon Wild led guided hike to some of the streams in the River Democracy Act and some of the rivers that are already wild and scenic. So we have, a lot of them this year. A ton of beautiful streams. I'll highlight one that I'm leading, and that's in July to Paulina Creek. This is in the Newberry Crater. It's super beautiful stream. We'll walk through a ton of water, or walk by a ton of waterfalls, including Paulina Falls, which you can see in the top photo here. Probably like 5 or 6 other waterfalls. It's a really interesting kind of ponderosa pine mixed conifer forest, and some very fascinating geology and volcanic history there, as it is kind of right on the side of the Newberry volcano, right outside of the National Monument there. And then Chandra will also be leading a hike to the Upper Middle Fork Willamette. Do you want to talk a bit about that, Chandra?
And both of these, by the way, I know we don't have dates up here. I have some later, but both of these are in early July, by the way. Sami's is on a Friday, and then on Saturday, July 12th, I'll be taking folks up to one of my favorite places, the Upper Middle Fork Willamette. It starts in a forest that burned in 2009 in the Tumblebug fire, and you can actually in this lower picture see some of the snags and burn trees, but it really had mixed fire effects in the area, so it's really great place to learn about fire ecology. We hike past Chuckle Springs. There's a lot of really pristine springs in this area that feed into the Middle Fork, and the Middle Fork is one of the main tributaries to the main stem of the Willamette. About 34 miles of the Middle Fork is proposed as a wild and scenic river in the River Democracy Act. And well worth it. It's really stunning. There's a trail that goes along most of that length, actually, and we'll hike about 2 or 3 miles and then turn back. But it's really great. So hope folks can join us for that or any of these other hikes along proposed wild and scenic rivers. Okay. Well, that's one main theme of our guided hikes this year. Another is mature and old growth forests at risk. And if you've tuned into any of our other webcasts or paid attention to any of our alerts lately, you know that we've been paying close attention to the effort to amend the Northwest Forest Plan, as well as some other proposals coming from the Trump administration that would increase logging. So we want to focus on some trails that could be impacted by these changes. So the Northwest Forest Plan, helps stop some of that rampant clear cutting of our old growth forests that I mentioned earlier on. And but it did leave about 1 million acres of older forests vulnerable to logging under that 30-year-old plan. The proposed amendment would actually allow more older forest logging than that. And so we're concerned that forests in this mature age class between 80 and 120 years old, so century-year-old trees that are, could be targeted for more logging under the Northwest Forest Plan Amendment. But really stunning places to hike and also great wildlife habitat and so much more. And so we want to get people out to look at those. For those of you paying attention, the comment period on the draft environmental impact statement for the Northwest Forest Plan Amendment just closed last month. Hopefully you submitted your comments. The next step now is that the Forest Service is reviewing those comments and they'll come out with a final proposal this fall. Of course, the Trump administration might throw some wrenches into things, and we don't know yet what exactly that will look like. So stay tuned. Speaking of, a couple of other threats to our public forest lands coming from Washington, D.C. include some executive orders on prioritizing logging on our public forest lands over pretty much all other uses. We did a whole webcast on this a couple weeks ago, so you can find that in our resource library on our website as well if you missed it. And as well as coming from Congress, the Fix Our Forests Act, which doesn't do that, is a bill that was introduced it actually already passed the House and was introduced in the Senate last week. It increases logging under the guise of reducing fire risk while bypassing public review and requirements for endangered species, without actually investing in real solutions to protect communities from fire. So lots of problems with that bill. And this little chart was in the presentation that our colleague gave a couple weeks ago on this, but just showing the coordinated efforts going on between the administration and Congress to weaken environmental laws and target more of our national forests for increased logging. So let's visit these places. It's important to visit them so that we can let our legislators and the Forest Service know why we care about them, what we value about these really amazing forests. So we've got several hikes planned in some of these forests that are in that age range, that could age range or in locations that aren't totally protected, that could be on the chopping block in the future under these new policies. So that includes the Upper Middle Fork Willamette, that's also in the Wild and Scenic River proposal, but also the South Willamette Trail, a hike that I'm leading, is right outside of Eugene, about 30 minutes outside of Eugene, around the base of Hardesty Mountain, but it's one of the less popular trails in the area. It's got some great old growth trees, a naturally developing understory, and we pass through some logged areas. So it's a really great opportunity to see what's at stake under current and proposed logging plans for our national forests. And Sami, you've got one that's also kind of related, yeah?
Yeah, to Green Ridge, which is the top photo here, and really that view speaks for itself. But yeah, super cool area. Green Ridge overlooks the Metolius River Basin, one of my favorite places. So this hike, we'll be hiking towards the top of Green Ridge through Ponderosa Pine Forest. Of course, beautiful views of the Cascades. This time of year should be some pretty good wildflowers too. But this is also a very threatened forest. There's been a lot of logging proposals over the last decade or so. They have yet to be finalized, but keep coming back. So this is one that's definitely at risk, especially with potential changes to forest plans or legislation and others. Okay, and another kind of fun adventure guide that you can use for your explorations and adventures this year is Senator Merkley's Oregon Treasure Quest, as he's calling it. So this was developed by the senator and his team to encourage Oregonians to visit some of our most treasured places. And not all of these are natural treasures or public lands, but a lot of them are. But there's also, a lot of historical sites, cultural museums and locations, and a lot of other fun places to visit as well. So if you can visit this website here on the screen, has more information about it. You can download the guide. And it's also a challenge as well. So it's grouped by county. And if you visit at least one site in, yeah, here we go. At least one site in at least 10 counties, you'll be invited to a party with the senator and other adventurers later in the year. So yeah, it's a pretty fun way to get out and explore maybe some new places that you haven't been to before. Oh yeah, so Chandra and I both were involved in it last year and both participated. This is again me at Crater Lake in Klamath County, and then the Three Sisters Wilderness as well, with my partner Kaylee, who's been on all of these adventures too. And that's just right outside my home, of course, in Bend. And Chandra, I have no idea where you are, but
Yeah, it was a fun challenge to go to places that I hadn't been before, and also go back to places that I had been before, but just to check the list for the treasure quest. But I hadn't been up to Sherrard Point before, which is up on top of Larch Mountain. That's a view of Mount Hood behind me in that picture. And so that was a good excuse to visit there. And then I got all the way out to the Owyhee Canyonlands this year, not just because of the treasure quest, but it was on there. So I got to check that off. And a really cool place called the Pillars of Rome, right outside of Rome, near the Owyhee, that I didn't know existed. It's a really cool rock formation. So yeah, definitely encouraged a little bit of exploration.
I see why they call it the Pillars of Rome. So yeah, again, it's pretty fun. You can see, can you go back to that last slide? Yeah. You can see an example of Benton County here. So usually there's a few different locations that you can visit. And again, for each county, you just need to visit one. And then you need to take a selfie of yourself, send it to this email address. And then once you do 10 of those, you'll be sent that invite. Okay, go ahead to the next slide. And then also, of course, a lot of these places are places that Oregon Wild has helped protect in the past or is currently working to protect. So 28 of the 36 counties have at least one treasure that we've been involved in some capacity. Here's some examples of just a few of them. So the Strawberry Mountain Wilderness in Grant County, Sahaley and Coosa Falls on the McKenzie River, which was also designated in that 1988 Wild Scenic Rivers Act. And then also the section of the McKenzie River below this part is not wild and scenic, but is included in the River Democracy Act, so we can protect more of that important watershed. Also the Oregon Dunes and Klamath Wildlife Refuges as well. And then again, many, many more. Too many to list. Okay, so we've given you, a ton of resources already here to get out and explore. But there's some more helpful resources on our website as well. So you can scan this QR code to go to those, or if you go to our website, Under the Discover Oregon tab, you'll see a link to outdoor resources, and you can find those there. So this includes even more hiking guides, some information on how to prepare for trips, how to plan, how to be a responsible user of public lands, what to do in an emergency, and other helpful resources like that. And then many of you have probably heard of Leave No Trace, but this is a key set of important principles that help us minimize our impacts on public lands and natural areas when we go out hiking or camping on them. So you can find more information at lnt.org. These are some of the main principles here. Or if you just Google, Leave No Trace, you can find those as well. But just important to remember, so that as many of us continue to, get out and enjoy these places, we make sure that we also take care of them. And this is especially important now, as I'm sure many of you know, we're seeing, a lot of staffing and funding cuts to public lands agencies like the National Park Service, the Forest Service, Bureau of Land Management. Many of these agencies that have staff that, take care of our trails and our trailheads and our campgrounds and these places, they're losing staff and funding for that. So really important this year, especially, to practice these principles. If you want to go even further, maybe bring a garbage bag with you, pick up some litter as you're hiking, or help out with some volunteer trail organizations. So, our public lands agencies, they're already often underfunded and understaffed to do a lot of this work and rely on some of these volunteer groups to help with trail maintenance and other stuff. So we've listed a few of the volunteer organizations that do trail maintenance work here. There's many others around the state too, depending on where you live. There's probably a local group you can get involved in as well. And here's just a few more resources that are helpful, that we find helpful. So if you're going hiking in the Central Cascade Wilderness areas, which is like the Three Sisters, Mount Jefferson, Mount Washington, some of the very popular trailheads, you'll need to make advanced reservations for your overnight or day use permits. So you can find more information on this webpage here, or recreation.gov. That's where you purchase those permits as well. So just if you're hiking in those areas, make sure to do a little bit of advanced planning, see if you need reservations for a permit or not. Fire closures, sometimes in the summer, places might be closed due to recent wildfire activity. So make sure to respect these. You can find information on where those closures are on the specific national forests, their websites that you're planning to visit. And then here's also some other websites and apps that we find helpful for finding, trails and information about hikes. Also some mapping apps that we like to use. Watch Duty is a really helpful one, again, for fire and smoke info, especially like current and new fire and smoke info.
Well, thanks, Sami. Okay, well, I'm going to bring us back to this idea that a lot of the places that we lead hikes to, or places that you have or plan to explore, are the types of wild areas, ancient forests, and pristine streams that only still exist because advocates like Oregon Wild and like all of you have fought to make sure that they're still here. So we have to speak up for our national public lands, for clean water, and for the continued existence of our native wildlife species so that nature can thrive into the future. So we're asking you to do that. Don't just go hiking, but also take action. We have many different avenues for doing this. And you can check out our webcast that we did last month addressing some of the Trump administration's threats to public lands and ways to take action. Where we, several of our staff, Sami and Phoenix and Casey, went over ways to take action, our activist toolkit. So one of the most important is to continue to call on our congressional representatives and remind them that our forests and public lands are important to you. So you can send them a message saying that you support the River Democracy Act and you want to see it pass because you believe in those protections for our rivers. Tell them that you want them to uphold our bedrock environmental laws that protect wildlife and public involvement. You can tell them specifically to oppose the Fix Our Forests Act. And we do have past alerts and other information if you want more specifics on that. And again, it was in that previous webcast as well. Our activist toolkit has ways of finding who your elected officials are, how to attend town hall meetings, write letters to the editor, and advocate using social media, all sorts of great things. So you don't have to do it all, but it's really important that if you're enjoying a place and you come to love it, that you speak up and advocate for it. So we really hope that you will consider doing that. Okay, so just to recap, and this is the first time you're seeing our complete list. I'll scroll down of the hikes that we're offering this year with dates. But we're offering a lot of fun, meaningful guided hikes where you'll learn a lot, explore really cool places, and have a good time. All of that takes your support. Not just advocating, but and becoming a member, supporting Oregon Wild in that way. I'll come back to that in just a second. I wanted to give people a chance to look at this list. So we have, and all of the registrations for all of our guided hikes through August went up today. So you can head to our website and register for any of these hikes. Please do so only if you're intending to come, because then we have more to manage if we have a lot of people who don't actually intend to come but sign up, but because we do limit the number of people who can come. But yeah, check your calendar, check out these wonderful hikes. Coming up just this next weekend, Pat Bolin, a local educator here in Eugene, is helping me with doing bird identification up at Clear Lake, at the headwaters of the Mackenzie. So that'll be fun. And then Sami's leading a hike on the Metolius River on May 2nd. So those are the ones coming up real soon. But then we've got hikes on the Salmon River Trail, Great Ridge that we talked about, in the Santiam State Forest. In July, Paulina Creek and the Upper Middle Fork Willamette that we already talked a little bit about, and then Lookout Mountain. If anybody's up for going down into the Umpqua National Forest with me and our partners at Umpqua Watersheds, I'm going to lead a hike to beautiful Bullpup Lake. Oh, that should say July, sorry. The South Willamette Trail, which I've talked about. And then later in the year, we've got some Coast Range hikes to try to avoid any smoke or fire issues. And then a few in the High Cascades after mosquito season. And then a few later in October and November, taking in some fall colors and learning about mushrooms. So lots of opportunity this year. Again, we depend on supporters to fuel our advocacy and our outdoor program. So if you're not already a member of Oregon Wild, I really encourage you to join today. We ask for donations for our guided hike program, but we ask for a smaller donation if you're already a member. So there's a perk. In particular, our Evergreen Society, people who give a set amount every month, is a great way to ensure that your donations help us plan for the long term. Special Evergreen Society benefits also include even more hike information. Last year, we put together a 50 hikes for 50 years hike collection that went to our Evergreen supporters. It's really great. There's lots of hikes that aren't also in this River Democracy Act hiking guide. So thanks to everyone out there who already supports Oregon Wild in this way, and we hope that you'll consider joining if you don't already. All right, well, I think it's time to get to any Q&A. So as a reminder, if you have any questions for me or Sami or about our work or any of these hikes, you can enter them in that Q&A box, and we will start to look at those now.
First, this is from Marina, who is here. Not a question, but her favorite adventure too was your backpacking trip to the Badger Creek Wilderness. Sound like a good time.
That's great. All right, someone's asking about how long the hikes are. Well, that's a great question. they all vary, and the detailed information is on our website where you go to register for the hike. So there's everything from 2 or 3 miles on pretty flat ground to 7 or 8 miles with elevation gain. So and everything in between. So each one spells out the distance and the elevation gain and how we rate them as far as easy, moderate, or strenuous. So you can gauge what your level is and see if there's a hike that fits your needs.
Okay, next question. Okay, does the River Democracy Act have any chance of coming to the floor in the current Congress? I can take this one on. Well, there's never a 0% chance. Though I will say, you know, the chances aren't high this Congress, as many of you can probably imagine. There's not likely to be much good public lands legislation past this Congress. We are hoping for reintroduction soon. So the River Democracy Act was last reintroduced last Congress, which was last summer, by Senator Wyden. Went through a pretty successful, productive hearing in the committee process, and then didn't really advance past that by the time the Congress ended. So this Congress, which is, you know, just a few months in, we're hoping to get reintroduction again, hopefully advance it farther in that process, and then in the hopes of, you know, a more environmentally friendly Congress in the near future, getting to a floor vote, getting it passed, protecting all of these rivers. Again, it's over 3,200 miles of rivers from all over the state. So very important historic bill for us that we want to get passed.
Yeah, nice. Okay, somebody asked how many people we allow on our hikes. And the answer is that we generally limit them to 15 people, just so that we can keep everyone together and everyone can hear and people can have a good experience. I will say, I didn't say this anywhere else, but we do not allow dogs on our hikes. I know that really makes some people sad, but is the fact. There's another question about whether there are any events around monitoring of logging site compliance. It's a great question. We don't organize those specific types of events. However, there are some groups that do. So Cascadia Wildlands, based out of Eugene, sometimes has those type of hikes. And also a sort of a base camp where you learn the basics of doing that sort of monitoring. Their email or their website is caskwild.org. And also the Blue Mountains Biodiversity Project monitors national forest logging in Eastern Oregon and has a pretty robust field program that folks should check out to do that. All right, anybody have other questions? Let's scroll through these slides if people want to look at the dates coming up. But again, they're all on our website.
Not a question, but Nancy says Clear Lake and Coosa and Sahili Falls are heavenly. I would completely agree. It's my favorite place to stop and use the restroom when I drive from Bend to Eugene, and then go on a very nice scenic little walk around the falls.
Yes, yeah, and it's nice and short. It's although I will say that I stopped there during COVID and the bathrooms were really atrocious. And
Yeah,
so
that's true. They're also very busy.
it's a
But
good thing to keep in mind that you know, with reduced staff, like we mentioned, you know, bringing you know, being able to pack out your own litter or help out by picking up litter that you find is really important. Oh yeah, people are saying like mention bark and Umpqua watersheds. Yes, sorry that I forgot. Bark on Mount Hood also has a program to do some field monitoring, and Umpqua watersheds out of Roseburg also. So yeah, all sorts of partners of Oregon Wild that we love working with and who have a program to do that since we don't. Somebody has a question about accessibility and if we list whether hikes are specifically recommended if they're accessible, I guess. We don't have that specifically listed. I guess if you see that there's like very little elevation and they're ranked as easy, you know, might be in that realm. But one of the resources on our website that Sami had up, our outdoor resources, does have some links to finding accessible hikes in Oregon. There's a couple of different resources there if you're having trouble finding accessible hikes.
And Richard is asking, what about overnight backpacks? I know that we don't have any this year and haven't in the last couple years. Chandra, have we done that in the past?
You know, in my long history with Oregon Wild, I don't believe we have ever led overnight backpacks. I think it's, you know, just, you know, it takes a special type of gear and expertise to lead a group like that. And we're trying to keep these hikes pretty accessible to the general public. And so we haven't focused there. Great idea. Maybe we'll try it in the future.
Yep. I think we've done like campouts in the distant past too. So not like more car camping type of things. But yeah, maybe an idea for the future.
Yeah, and you know, and I think it's important to note here that, you know, it's not like we have dedicated staff who just lead hikes and are experts on this. I mean, we're trained and we have experience, but you know, we have other things that we work on 90% of the time, and so this is a way of connecting folks to the campaigns that we're working on that 90% of the time, and so it's an important part of, you know, making the connection and you know, helping you experience the places we're working on. But it's you know, it's something that we don't have like dedicated funding for example. So now someone was asking whether bears or other predators are a potential problem on hikes. You know, it's always great to have in your back pocket what to do if you encounter a bear or a cougar, but generally in a group of people, we're not going to see any of these large wildlife. They're scared off by groups of people, and there's also safety in numbers. So no, I don't think it's never been a problem, and I don't foresee it ever being a problem on a group hike.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we only have black bears in Oregon, and they tend to run away when you get anywhere near them.
I have seen a black bear on one of my guided hikes running away from us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions?
Oh, someone asked about whether there's a set amount to join Oregon Wild. I believe our base membership is $40 a year, but really any amount of, you know, there or above will make you a member of Oregon Wild.
Mm-hmm. And correct me if I'm wrong, Chandra, but if you are a member, I believe the suggested donation for hikes is $5 and $20 if you're not a member.
Yeah, and it's an optional donation. So
suggested.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everybody for being here tonight and learning about some of the adventures that Sami and I will take you on this year to some really special proposed wild and scenic rivers, some threatened, mature and old growth forests, and other beautiful places like the Santiam State Forest that our colleague Casey is leading folks to, a place I've never been. So there's, oh, and I didn't mention this one either. Here, let me go back. One more. Oh gosh, I didn't get it on here. Oh no, Mary's Peak. September 7th, we're trying something fun, doing a sunset moonrise hike with our colleague Phoenix, who is a certified dark sky naturalist. I think that's the right word. And so we're going to be meeting up around sunset, watch the sunset to the west from Mary's Peak, and then watch the moon rise. It's a full moon. So that should be a really fun experience. We've never done anything like that before. So we've got all sorts of fun things planned. Really appreciate everyone tuning in, and yeah, let the hike signups begin. Anything else, Sami?
No, that's it. Hope to see you all on one of our hikes, or, go enjoy your own hikes as well this summer. But yeah, the weather's looking up and I'm excited to get out there.
Yeah, get your River Democracy Act hike guide and use it to get out on your own too. All right, well, I think if we don't have any more questions, we can go ahead and end early. So here, let me.
Cool. All right. Thanks, everyone.
All right, thank you. Bye.